Shalom Aleichem. Peace be upon you. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High Yah, Yahuwah, through his son Yahushua HaMashiach. It's your brother UncleK, and we're back with another one. I hope you're having a Baruch day, and I hope right now you have a sound mind and a sound heart. Now, before we get into the content, like the content, share the content, comment down below. And if you're not a supporter, become a supporter right now. I just advise you to tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. So let's get into it. For anyone that's living a Kodesh lifestyle, a set-apart lifestyle, we know that quietness is very key. Right? Because the louder you are, is the more that you expose yourself. Right? And it's best to be quiet, but have a loud presence about yourself. Right? Because when you're quiet, you're very mysterious. People can't pinpoint who you are and what you are about. You just showcase what you're doing in quietness. Right? So you go to work, you're about your work. You're quiet about it. You're handling your business. You clock out. You go on to your next endeavor. You go into the gym. You're going to get your workout. You're not talkative. You're quiet. You have high intensity. You're handling your business. You wash your hands. You're out. You go into the store. You're grabbing your items. You're not talkative. You're out. You're back in your house. You're cleaning up. You got your people next to you. You're breaking bread. You're doing the right things. When it comes down to us, anywhere we move, any endeavor we're in right now, we're not overly expressive. Right? We're not super loud. We're not super talkative. We're very protective of ourselves. Right? Spiritually, you're very protective of yourself. Because if you don't have anything wise to say, you don't open your mouth. And the thing about the quiet individual is that this quiet individual, he's set apart, she's set apart, so you hearken unto wisdom. And a lot of people that come into your space as a quiet person, they would utter foolishness before they utter wisdom. So you don't have much to say. And if you see this individual more often, then there's not really much to say. You know, when you're a quiet person, a lot of people like to be very nosy in your life. They want to know what's going on with you. They're always asking you about your situation. They're always saying, oh, how's everything going? Oh, how's this going? Oh, how's that going? You know, they always want to know how something is going. Right? When we have Yahuwah, we know that everything is going good. No matter what adversity we're faced with, we know that everything is going good. Because the Most High, he's our deliverer. He delivers us through all things in life. Right? All turmoil, all adversity, all ups, all downs. He's the one that takes care of us. He's the one that delivers us through it all. When you're a quiet person and you're very mysterious, people are gonna want to find fault in you. People are gonna try to rile you up. People are gonna try to do things. People are going to try to bring up past situations, past things. Right? That's why we don't dwell in the past. Right? You see, you're not the same person you were so long ago. You're a brand new creature. Right? Through the Mashiach, you're a brand new creature, man. So a lot of old individuals, they'll try to bring up certain things of the past. You're not the same. You can't be identified by those things. You know? And they want to see how you're going to react to certain things. Right? The adversary, he does that a lot. He knows about our past, but he doesn't know about our future. So, you know, you've been very clean for a long time. People might bring up certain things randomly. People you don't even know They'll bring up something about weed. They'll bring up something about, a harlot or something like that. They'll just bring up things, man. And when you're quiet, more things come to you because you're a mystery. People like to see what could get your blood boiling, right? When you're quiet and you in the presence of harlots, and you're not overly reactive to it like other men might be, right? Other men are very reactive when they see a harlot. Their necks, they like to turn and look and chase and run after, right? They get real frantic in the midst of a harlot. And when you're quiet, that means that you have worked on your self-control. You have been on discipline, right? You're moving with wisdom, right? Because we're not fools. A fool, when he's quiet, he's looked at as wise, but that fool still doesn't have wisdom. You see, he's just looked at as wise. But a wise man, he has all these things established in him through wisdom, right? Because he doesn't act like a fool. So when you're in the midst of these individuals and you're quiet, they only like to provoke you, right? To see if there's something in you, something that could rile you up, right? That's why people try to get you mad, right? That's why women try to get you reactive to the physical, right? The physical attributes. They try to get you riled up like that. When you look so calm and so peaceful, right? That's why men that have wickedness on their mind and always thinking about bloodshed, that's why they always look at you with such violence, right? Because you're so calm and so quiet. Quietness is not something that this world knows how to be anymore, right? A whole bunch of loud cars, loud music playing everywhere we go. People don't know how to be quiet anymore, because when it's time to be still and be quiet, that's when the real come out, right? That's when you see who's really peace, who really got peace in them, who really has shalom about them, who really has self-control about them, right? There's so much gratification these days that people can't really sit still, right? And when you in these scriptures, it's like time is so still. When you in the scriptures and you getting a good study, a good read, it's like everything is still. Everything is just peaceful. Everything is just, remember, the scriptures is the spirit. It's the sword of the spirit, man. Right? Spirit. It's the most high. You feel so still. Like you just want to keep on reading. And it brings you to this such a relaxation that you know how to be still. And stillness really disrupts loudness, right? People that's a busybody, people that are so loud and so frantic, they can't stand still. They can't sit still. They can't even just stand upright, back straight, chest out, head forward, right? They have to be stimulated in some sense. And when it comes down to the righteous, the Kodesh, the set apart, they're looking for fault in you, right? They wanna find out something about you. They wanna so then an attack could come your way, right? And we gotta take heed of that. We gotta be very watchful of that, right? We gotta pay attention to the times we living in. Pay attention to the enemy, right? The enemy's watching us, but we gotta pay attention to his tactics, man. There's a lot that we still working on, right? There's a lot. Sometimes when you're in this righteousness, I know you feel like getting wrathful at times, but we gotta calm that down. We gotta calm that down. We got to tune that down a notch. We gotta make sure that we really thinking before we take action, right? We gotta be thinking before we take action. So we still gotta be calm, right? And that's something we are working on, and we're doing a good job. We just got to keep on relying on the Most High, right? That's why men look at you crazy as well too. When there's a whole bunch of harlots in the proximity, and you so dialed in and focused, especially when you're training in the gym, you put in work, You're very disciplined, right? You're very concentrated on what it is that you're doing. You got your technique, you're dialed into your technique and everything like that. And you're not worried about all the distractions or what's going on around you. And a lot of men, they're very inferior to you when they see you moving like that. You're very calm and relaxed, and they're so frantic. They're in groups. Remember that. A lot of individuals that can't sit still, that's always busybodies, that always got evil intentions and things of that nature. They always in big groups. Right? And we gotta, when we're in big groups, that's dangerous because it's righteous. Right? It's like David when he was in a cave and 400 men came to him. Right? That was grieving. That was going through it. Righteous men was with David. 400 men. That's power. Shaul, he had way more men than David at the time, but it's righteousness over wickedness, right? If Yahuwah is with you, then he will deliver the enemies into your hand. But if Yahuwah is not with you, that's a dangerous sight. That's a dangerous sight. And a lot of these individuals, they always come together plotting, laughing, cuckling all over the place when they seeing things, just so loud. And they want to know, why is this man so peaceful? Why is this, what makes this man so focused? Why is he not paying attention to the same things that I'm paying attention to? Right? The strange woman, she's like, why is this man not budgeting? Why is this man not giving me back the same signals that I'm giving him? Right? Why is this? Why is that? When these men out here that want to play street thugs, want to play gangsters, when they trying to act tough, trying to walk around like, they about that business or whatnot, and you so courageous and upright, and you're not feeling like something's gonna pop off or anything like that. This dude, he looking real timid, right? Because you're very courageous and you're very calm, right? You can see emotion on someone's face, right? Because that's how people move these days. They walk with a lot of emotion. It's written all over their faces. Well, too, it's written all over their bodies, right? Fellas, we gotta stay strong, man. We gotta stay strong. Remember, this is you putting away iniquities, right, in totality. Right, and sexual iniquity is one of the biggest things that could hinder the progress of a man, because fornication, you can't inherit the kingdom. Fornicator can't inherit the kingdom. So if you're working on everything else, but fornication is still something that you wrestling with, you got to put it away. Right? Fornication is detrimental because you're sinning against yourself. You're sinning against your own body. That's why when people do these horrendous acts towards themselves, and not just to themselves, but, involving themselves with a woman that's not their wife, and they're not sowing seeds, it's a reason why they deteriorate themselves. That's the reason why, they're not looking their best. That's why a lot of them are playing characters, putting on personas. Stay strong, fellas. And this time is very pivotal that you stand on business, you stand with Yahuwah, you stay masculine, you stay strong, you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. Know that Yahushua HaMashiach is your high priest, and this body is a living sacrifice unto the Most High. So let's keep doing it. Let's keep going, all right? Shalom Aleichem. Peace be upon you. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High, Yah, Yahuwah, through his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. It's your brother, UncleK. Glad y'all tapped into another one. Like, share, comment down below. If you're not a supporter, become a supporter right now. Continue to have a brute day and keep a sound mind and a sound heart. And I'll see you soon, Most High willing. But for now, peace.